What's up, guys? Um, yeah, I just wanted to talk about a couple things on my mind right now. Some things I'm implementing in my life. Even if no one watches this, it's fine. Um, if even a couple of you get some nice ideas from this, that's all I want. It's also good for me to look back at my progress and see, just see what was going on in my life. So, I actually wrote a couple things down here to talk about. Um, so, a lot of people, they like to talk about things such as diet and exercise. They keep talking about diet and exercise, thinking that, that's the answer to, longevity and stuff. And while I do agree that diet and exercise is important, the thing that I've been kind of thinking about is those things are very easy to change relatively. And what I mean by that is it's very easy to tell someone, oh, just eat organic, or just eat plant-based, or just eat carnivore or keto or whatever. Like, those are really easy to do even in today's world. If that was the case, you wouldn't be seeing so many people with issues. The other thing is exercise. Well, I think the world is becoming more towards exercise, yet obesity and diabetes and mental health and all different kinds of issues are actually going up. So those things are very vanilla topics. I don't think they really get to the crux of the issue, and the powers that be don't want you to get to the true problem, the root of the problem, because the real root of the problem is going to be something that's going to be really hard to change. For example, everybody likes to brush off, cell phones, blue light from cell phones, or Wi-Fi frequencies, they can't be that bad. I mean, why? Because they like to justify it, because they have no choice but to use it, right? If they were to admit that Wi-Fi is bad, they would also have to admit that basically everything they're doing in their life is bad. So that's why people turn to things such as diet and exercise, because it's really easy for them to say, I'm exercising and I'm following a good diet in my opinion, so I'm all good. So I think that's the first root of the problem. By the way, I want to give credit where credit's due. I've been watching a lot of Dr. Jack Kruse. He is somebody who I've taken a lot of these ideas from, and I kind of want to give him credit, but I also want to say that I'm showing how his principles are fitting into my life. I'm kind of documenting my life, so I'm using his principles to my life to see if I can, document it on the internet. So the first thing is that I'm actually starting to focus more on light, and the reason why I'm doing that is because I believe that light is the main thing on this earth that we need more than food. It's not more than food necessarily, but it's the thing that even creates food. Without light, you don't have anything. You don't have plants, the producers, nor do you have the animals that people eat. You don't have anything on this earth. So there was a study done on the Hadza. The Hadza are a nomadic tribe in Africa, and the Americans fed them a bunch of crappy foods, American foods, sugar, processed foods, fatty, just a bunch of stuff that's prepackaged and everything. And I believe they did this for a week or a couple weeks, and they found that the Hadza's microbiome did not change at all. Another thing is that a lot of people, and they've done studies on this, and even if you look up on Reddit, people will say, diabetics will say, because this is why Reddit is a really important place, because you get to see people's perspectives on Reddit. You'll see that diabetes patients report having better insulin sensitivity when they're in the light. When I mean light, I'm not talking about artificial light, and I'll get into that later from what I've read and understood. They're actually talking about the full broad spectrum sunlight. which is made up of red light, blue, the visible light spectrum, and the UV spectrum. So my theory really is, and it's not just my theory, I've got it from Jack Kruse, and I'm going to try to implement it in my own life, is that blue light, when it's by itself, is very, very, very detrimental to humans. Whenever you look at the sun's spectrum of light, you always see that blue is never alone, and blue also fluctuates throughout the day. So it's very low in the morning, it's very high in midday, and it goes back down at night. Same with UV, but red is a little bit more constant. There's been studies done on blue light to show that blue light by itself is actually 50%, it ages you 50% faster. So people that are getting a high dose of blue light are actually aging their collagen in cells at a rate of 50% faster than people that don't. And that sometimes that can go up to 100%, so twice the rate of aging. That's one of the reasons why I actually believe that nowadays people are suffering from a lot of wrinkles, balding, white hair. Even me, I mean, I'm starting to get a little bit of white hair and stuff only at 28, so I'm not out of this, but I'm just trying to make some changes, obviously. Also, the rate of psychological and mental disorders has gone up like crazy. I don't believe that the actual I don't believe it's actually the content that's addicting people, because we also have, just like social media, we have social interactions with people, but we don't necessarily get addicted. Well, people do, but we don't necessarily get as addicted to that as we do social media and the computer. And I believe the reason for that is because computers are very, very concentrated form of blue light without red or UV, at least in high concentrations. Once again, you never ever have blue light by itself in nature, whether that's through sunlight, which is first and foremost very important, the best source, or even really fire and candles. They don't have that intensity of blue light, nor do they have the flicker that we see. I want to take two people in an example of my own life. So my ancestry, I have Indian ancestry, and my grandpa, one of my grandpas is still alive right now. He's 93 years old. My other grandpa, he died actually last year. He was 83. So they both lived pretty long lives. My grandpa, unfortunately, who died last year, was 83. He was a great man, taught me so much. I miss him dearly, but I learned a lot from him. And the one thing I started to think about these last couple of weeks is he actually used to live in Toronto, which is latitude of over 43. And he used to live in Rochester with my mom and, in Toronto with my mom's sister. And then sometimes he would also go down to Australia, depending on the seasons. He was also using an iPad quite a bit more. The thing I realized, and he died unfortunately from a form of prostate cancer. The thing I realized was that although he was quite a healthy man and 83 is a good life, I believe he could have probably lived even longer if he had, number one, probably embraced the heat more, and not necessarily the heat, but the sun's rays more in America when it was hot, instead of staying inside. But the other thing is to get off the iPad, because like I said, the concentrated blue light, it actually has been proven to age you and destroy your mitochondria's ability, which is very important for cancer. The rate of your mitochondria, how quickly it can power your cells, is the most important thing to powering up your immune system to kill cancer. So my grandpa in India, who's still alive, he lives in Chennai, which is a latitude of, I believe, 13 or 14. And even though he doesn't necessarily get outside as much, I believe that the little bit more intensity of sun exposure actually helped him to continuing to help him keep up his immune system. I don't think he has an iPad or anything either, although they do have TVs and stuff, but it's not as a concentrated form of blue light. I think a lot of this depends on haplogroups and stuff too. Like if you're like a Viking ancestry, you have adaptations. I don't want to get into that now. To actually, the cold actually helps you by powering your mitochondria, and it also works in people like me, but they're better suited for that, which is why they're able to get away with so much less sunlight. Of course, they have lighter, less pigmentation in their skin. To allow them to absorb more rays, but there's sometimes 6 months of the year where they barely have any sun, or even 8 months up in Norway, Iceland, and stuff like that. So the other thing I want to talk about is vitamin D supplements are rat poison. What I mean by that is cholecalciferol is actually the main ingredient they use in rat poison. So if you look at a bottle of rat poison, you'll see that cholecalciferol, and now everybody likes to say, oh, well, the dosage is what matters. Number one, the reason why such an important part of our physiology and anatomy, which is skin tone, pigmentation, melanin pigmentation, is literally one of the biggest things you see in someone, is because it's super, super, super important. So you should not have to take a vitamin D supplement just to get the benefits from the sun. The other thing is that vitamin D is actually just a proxy for how much sun you've been exposed to. What that means is it's kind of like a signal that shows that you've had a lot of sun. So all it's showing is that you have lots of sun, so it's not causation. So it's correlation does not equal causation. So when they do studies and they say people that have higher vitamin D have less, incidence of cancer, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the vitamin D that's causing it. Yes, vitamin D is helpful in many things, but it doesn't mean it's the only thing. There's so many other different things in light, right? There's 7 different wavelengths, or multiple different wavelengths of light. The visible spectrum, UV, red light. You can just see the rainbow. Infrared, deep light, deep penetrating infrared, light penetrating infrared, medium penetrating, things you can't even see. Some of them can actually penetrate into your muscles, into your bones. It's been shown. Infrared 2 and 3, and you're not actually, and the crazy thing is you don't get any infrared when you are sitting in front of a artificial light, nor do you get any through glass. So glass itself is not the best thing in my opinion. I think because glass actually lets through blue light. It blocks one part of UVB, I believe. No, wait. Yeah, it blocks UVB, which is what allows you to make vitamin D. UVA is what tans you, and if you get too much of it is what ages you. Although I have some arguments on that, we'll just say that for now. Red light, most of red light, the deep parts of red light that penetrate deep into your bones and muscles are completely blocked by glass. So that's another thing to think about. There's just so many different things that they're, in my opinion, just confusing people with. Oh, you got to wear sunscreen. I kind of bought into some of that. I was wearing, even though I was healthy, I was sometimes wearing sunscreen and stuff too, which is retarded, right? Like for me, I have burned a couple of times, but only like if I'm, let's say, in India and I'm there like I didn't get any sun, and then I get there in April. I remember once I did, when I was a young kid, my skin tone was a lot lighter too, and I got kind of burned. But nowadays I'm not going to get burned, right? Because of my skin color, and because now I also have a base tan on me. So yeah, I go to work nowadays and I just see people, they go to work, right? The day in the life of an average American is you get up, surrounded by, you check your phone, which is a hit of blue light. Then you turn on the lights in your bathroom, you're getting hit with blue light. Then they go to they watch TV while they're eating breakfast, you're getting just pounded by blue light only. Then you get in your car and you don't open the windows. I see people, they don't even open the windows. See, I'm here in sunny Texas, nobody opens the windows. So now they're getting pounded by blue light. Then they go to their office, right? Which now you're just getting wrecked by blue light. You get most people have 3-4 monitors in front of them, and they are they're just getting destroyed basically by the blue light. And then they come home, now that the day is pretty much over, so then you come back and you're too tired to do anything else. You go to a gym which has blue light in it. And there's probably a bunch of monitors there. If you're in front of the treadmill, you got a monitor there in front of you which is blasting blue light. Then you go home probably and everybody veggies out in front of the TV. And you wonder why obesity, mental health, depression, acne, hair loss, erectile dysfunction, all this shit is going up. It's just unbelievable. If there's anybody watching this that knows me from college, they would know that I used to have horrible, horrible acne. I'm not saying my skin is perfect, but I mean, every now and then I'll get like a zit or something, but I would say my skin, based off of what you can see, I think it's pretty good. So you got to listen to somebody like me who's actually had bad acne, not somebody with just genetically perfect skin, because I'll tell you what, this is how genetics works. Let's say somebody's genetically predisposed to having bad skin because it's just their genetic code. That person, when they're exposed to a lot of bad light or electromagnetic frequencies, non-native electromagnetic frequencies, their body is going to show that in their skin, versus somebody, that was me basically, versus somebody who maybe has perfect skin, but their body shows it in their metabolism, makes them put on fat, or maybe it shows in their bones where they get bone fractures, or it shows in their hair where they're very prone to balding. I mean, balding is genetic too, but hair loss, or eyesight, poor eyesight. So for me, it was my skin. My skin, I had a lot of acne and stuff when I was younger. I'm starting to do a lot better with that. So I want to leave this with a couple things that I'm doing now to basically improve, never have these kind of issues in the future, because you can't obviously eradicate all parts of blue light. We all have jobs, we have livelihoods. Of course, if I wanted to, I wish I could just go to a beach in Puerto Rico and hang out with the people there and not have to work. But unfortunately, I do have to work. I don't have to work. I'd like to, so I can, build a business so that eventually I don't have to work for someone else. But right now, I'm still working. So what am I doing? Number one, when I go to work, I turn my screen brightness. I don't do red light or night light or anything like that. I have 3 monitors at work. I turn my screen brightness. I've been turning it lower and lower every day, and honestly now I'm at 0% brightness. It's still, when it says 0, it doesn't mean it's completely quiet. You can still see the stuff, but right now when I turn it to 0 and I open it, it looks perfect to me. Then I look at someone else's monitor who's on 100 or 75, and I'm like, oh, it hurts my eyes, It should, because it's not natural. So I would recommend, if you're in a place where you can turn your brightness down on your monitors, I would start by turning it down, because the intensity of the blue light goes down as the brightness goes down. Another thing is, this has motivated me to cut down on my unnecessary use of technology. And what I mean by that is, I no longer sit in front of the TV for 4, 5, 6 hours, not 4, 5, 6, I'm never doing that, but like 2 hours after work or in front of the computer doing nothing. If I need to use the computer to check my emails or something, or my phone, because obviously we do have to use our phone, I do it quick, I do what I need to do, and I get off of it. Now if someone calls me, I can hear it, I can pick it up. Or if someone texts me, I'll check I actually do not disturb now on my text messages. So I just check my text like 2 or 3 times a day. That's it. If somebody really needs to get a hold of me, they can call me. The other thing I do is when I'm at work, because obviously you're still getting bombarded by the blue lights, the good thing for us is blue light is actually much less from a monitor than it is from the sun. However, the reason this is a problem is if you have 3 monitors in front of you, now you have 3 times the blue light. If you're sitting in a warehouse or whatever with 10 other people there, you got blue light from all their monitors in the area. Plus you've got the fluorescent lighting above that's lit up the room, right? So yes, on Google they'll say, oh yeah, 1 monitor is equal to like 6 hours of sunlight. 10 minutes of a monitor is equal to 6 hours of sunlight. First of all, that sunlight is balanced with red light. Most of sunlight is red light, so counteracts that blue light. Red light is healing, and there's an interaction with the blue light where it neutralizes it. Okay, in your skin. Blue light is not bad, but it's only bad when you get too much. So when you think about it, imagine going to work, not getting any sun, and then just getting bombarded by just that blue light, then coming back and barely getting sun either. Right? And then they tell you to take vitamin D pills, which, they're dosed in seed oils, and then you've got more issues. Then you get hypercalcemia or something, slowly over time. Then possibly your cholesterol goes up, and then the doctor puts you on statins. Yeah, it's a disaster. So what I do is every hour or so that I'm inside, I go out. Luckily I live here in Texas where it's warm and it's sunny. I get out and I get 5 to 10 minutes. I roll my sleeves on my pants up, so I've got my legs exposed. I wear short sleeves, so I've got my arms exposed, and then obviously my head is exposed. And then I just go there and I just sit. Every hour I use 5 minutes of that, and that's pretty good actually, because you're getting tons of red light when you do that. The best thing you can do is you can actually wear a long sleeve when you go into work, and then you can put a button down on top of a shirt, and then you can take off that button down to just have the shirt when you go outside. Or if you're in a place where you can work from home, just take off your shirt, right? Because then you're blocking out the blue light with the shirt when you're at work, but then you're getting all the red light and blue light when you're in the sun. But you're getting so much red light that it's able to kind of counterbalance the blue light you're getting at work. So I do that every hour, but then on my lunch break, I don't necessarily get 10 minutes, but a good hour and a half, I'll get 5 minutes, at least 5 minutes. In the morning, I get a good 10 minutes. I'll talk about that more too. So I get about 5 minutes every hour and a half. In the morning, I would have got about 10, 20 minutes around sunrise. During midday, I take off my shirt completely and I change into shorts, and I work next to a boat marina, basically. So I go for a walk on that marina for a whole hour. 1 whole hour, I'm getting nice vitamin D, right, in this Texas sun. Obviously, as you can see, I've got a nice, you can see that line right there. I've got a nice tan worked up. So I just get a nice 1 hour of sunlight. Pretty much my whole body, other than my shorts, and sometimes I'll take my shoes off. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I'm doing. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is sunrise and sunset are really important too, because so sunrise, the blue light and the UV light scatters because it's much shorter wavelength, because it's got to go through more of the atmosphere. So the red light though, because it's a longer wavelength, it can get through. So what you're doing in the first 10-15 minutes and last 10-15 minutes, all these idiots out here paying for, $500 a session and $500 a month, whatever, for red light therapy or red light sauna. You're basically getting red light therapy the first 15 minutes of this day and last 15 minutes. So I mean, you got to be stupid not to use that, right? As free red light therapy, the best red light therapy that you can get from the sun. So that's pretty much it, guys. That's my talk I wanted to give. The reason I'm out here is because I'm actually doing pull-ups here. That's the other thing I want to talk about. I've also started to do most of my workouts outside that I can. So like obviously if I need to use a bench, I have to go inside. So because it's in a blue light lit room. But like right now, today's back day for me. I do back and biceps. I will use the gym a little bit to do some biceps because I don't have free weights, but I'm gonna do my pull-ups right here at the tennis court. There's a fence which is like a perfect for pull-ups, where you can go to like a jungle gym at like a park or something to do pull-ups there. Try to work out outside as much as you can. You don't have to stop lifting, but just maybe try to bring your weights outside or something. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. As you can see, I'm living proof. I'm not like some fat ass online like giving random advice. I'm in pretty good shape, full head of hair and everything like that. I'm not saying I'm handsome or anything. I'm probably ugly as sin, but at least in terms of my body, I think I'm doing pretty well. So I still have a long way to go, because sometimes I have fatigue in the morning through all my years of abuse. To all the years of bullshit I put my body through. I haven't put it through too much because I've always been conscious of my health, but I've made a lot of bad mistakes. So I just started doing this stuff this week. And I'm basically gonna just maybe once a week, or maybe every 2 weeks. I try to do once a week, maybe even a couple times a week. I don't know. I'm gonna try to basically just give an update as to how I'm feeling with all these changes I'm making in my life. I'm gonna see if there's actually is a benefit, and if there is, I'm gonna talk about more. I also want to talk more just about in general, like I said, not necessarily to make a huge following or anything. It's not like I'm gonna be the next Mr. Beast or anything. But maybe I will, who knows. But I just want to talk about my dreams. Sorry, wait, what do I write here? I wrote some notes. I wasn't really sure what I wrote there. I think I wrote dreams. I don't know. I just want to talk about life in general, these kind of topics. Fitness, health, maybe a little bit about diet. This is why I said that diet doesn't really matter, because you've heard of all the people that are like, oh, this man eats Coca-Cola. He drinks like 3 Cokes a day and he's like 95. Oh, he eats like four steaks a day and he's 100. Oh, he eats tons of saturated fat. Oh, he eats a ton of whatever, sugar or candy or processed food, right? So they've been done studies that have shown that the more sunlight you get on your body and the more good light you get, the stronger your microbiome gets, so that it actually is able to filter out all the crap. See, the crap is only a problem when and I'm not saying go out and eat junk, I think you should eat whatever camp you're in, vegetarian, vegan, carnivore, omnivore, whatever. I think you should eat natural foods. Everything that's natural is fine, It's my belief. But that's why I think, food is not the most important. I remember when I was younger, I was eating just a bunch of crap, basically. I was eating crappy food. I was eating, just fatty food. I remember when I went to India when I was 10, 15 years old. I know my metabolism is fast and stuff too, but I was eating an ungodly amount of calories. And the one thing I remember I did was I was in the sun a lot, right? My parents were not, and that's why they're, gaining a little bit. They gained a little bit of weight and stuff. I was always a tennis player, so I was always playing tennis in India, wherever. So I had a bunch of time in the sun, and I just basically could eat whatever I wanted. That's what I believe with people, is that the more and more they're in the sun, the more calories you can eat and the more crap your body can take, because it builds your gut microbiome. there's links between sunlight and gut microbiome. And I mean, I do also want to talk more about money and finances and stuff, because I do think that's important. I think they're trying to steal our wealth nowadays by not, even for me, it was quite a, it wasn't like a drag or anything, but I had to be like, all right, let's go make this video, because I have all these thoughts in my head, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to talk about that, I want to discuss that. But my day job just drains so much energy out of me, because I'm sitting once again in front of those blue lights all day. It's getting better now, but it's just very draining. I'm not saying they're bad. They're good people. The people that I'm working with are great and everything. The company is, making a business move and wants to get the most out of its employees and everything. But this is where you have to think about, okay, how can I optimize the light environment that I'm in? Let me take 5-minute breaks, every hour. 5 minutes, nobody, and it's probably it's actually made my productivity better at work, taking those 5-minute breaks, because after that 5-minute break, I come back and I'm super energized and I just get a bunch of stuff done. And then I notice by the end of that hour, I start to, slowly go down again. So then I get that 5-minute boost again. Then I'm good. Then it starts to go down. So your productivity will actually go up, in my opinion. So yeah, that's it. Once again, I'm sure 10 people will watch this, but this is more for my documentation. I can look back on my life, and hey, if any of you guys watch this, hopefully you got something, and yeah, hopefully you'll get to see stuff that I'm going to do in the future. So yeah, have a good evening, guys. Bye.